The arena shook as the final chain snapped. Alien crowds roared, 6,000 throats screaming for blood, honor, spectacle. Plasma torches burned along the stone ring. The air smelled of ionized metal and fear. In the center stood a human. Bare hands, torn combat suit, blood drying on his knuckles. They had dragged him from a wrecked patrol ship 3 cycles ago. Labeled him Death World Vermin. Thrown him into the trial ring to die for entertainment. He had not died. 3 champions already lay broken around him. One with a crushed thorax. One unconscious. One very dead. The crowd fell silent as Princess Zira rose from her throne. She was young by imperial standards. Silver crests marking royal blood. Eyes like burning sapphires. This was her first public judgment. Tradition demanded she claim the victor as a bonded asset or order execution. Her gaze locked onto the human. He did not kneel. Guards shifted nervously. No slave ever stayed standing before a royal. Zira felt something tighten in her chest. By law, the trial victor belonged to the throne. By custom, the princess could choose their fate with a word. She raised her hand. "I claim him," she said. Shock rippled through the arena. Not as property, not as breeding stock. The ancient word she used meant chosen by chance and bound by fate. The human finally spoke. "What does that mean?" His voice was rough, accented, but steady. Zira hesitated. No one had ever asked her a question in the arena. "It means," she said carefully, "your life is no longer forfeit." He exhaled. "Good. I'm tired of killing strangers." That single sentence sent a chill through the noble box. Tired, as if the slaughter they witnessed was restraint, not desperation. They escorted him to the royal chambers under full guard. Energy shackles locked his wrists, calibrated to break the bones of any known species. He tested them once. The metal groaned. Guards exchanged looks but said nothing. Zira followed at a distance, mind racing. She had claimed him to prevent the High Council from dissecting him. Curiosity, she told herself. Mercy, politics. Not the way he had fought. No wasted movement. No rage screams. He protected fallen opponents even while killing others. When a champion slipped, the human had caught him before delivering the final blow. Clean, precise, controlled. In the holding chamber, Zira dismissed the guards. "You are bound to me now," she said. "You will obey imperial law." The human met her eyes. "I obey rules that make sense," he replied. "The rest I survive." For the first time in her life, Princess Zira felt something dangerous. Hope. She did not know it yet, but by claiming a human warrior by chance, she had pulled the first thread of an empire-ending change. And humans once claimed never stayed contained. The Empire learned the truth about the human too late. Alarm screamed across the spire. Not from rebellion, not from invasion, from protocol failure. The restraint field around the holding chamber collapsed in on itself, unable to compensate. Imperial engineers stared at their consoles in disbelief. The system was rated for creatures that could punch through starship hulls. Inside the chamber, the human flexed his wrists. The energy shackles did not shatter. They simply slid off, metal warped as if embarrassed. Princess Zira stood frozen. "You said you would obey the law," she said. "I did," the human replied calmly. "Those were not law. Those were fear." He stepped back, hands open, non-threatening. That somehow made him more terrifying. "My name is Elias," he continued. "I am not your enemy." The doors burst open. Council guards poured in, plasma spears raised. Orders were shouted. Kill commands authorized. No more experiments. Elias moved. Not fast. Efficient. He redirected one spear into the ceiling, disarmed another guard with a wrist twist. A third slammed into the wall, unconscious but breathing. No deaths. The guards hesitated. Zira raised her voice. "Stand down. By royal claim, he is under my protection." The room froze. Elias looked at her, surprised. "You do not have to do that." "I chose you," she said. "I will not betray that." Something ancient shifted behind his eyes. The High Council responded within minutes. Holographic elders filled the chamber, crests flaring in outrage. "You have endangered the Empire," one hissed. "Humans are Death World predators. They destabilize systems." Elias stepped forward. "You built an empire on stability," he said. "At the cost of growth." Silence. "You fear chaos," he continued. "Humans live in it. We adapt. We endure. We protect what we choose." Zira felt the weight of every word. The council ordered his immediate transfer to a black site. Zira refused. That refusal triggered emergency law. Across the Empire, ancient alliances cracked. Warrior castes whispered, Slave species watched, because for the first time a royal stood between them and power. That night assassins came. They never reached Zira's chamber. Elias waited in the dark, unarmed. When it was over, the walls were cracked, weapons melted, and every assassin was alive, bound, terrified, and broken. Zira stared at the aftermath. "You could have killed them," she whispered. "I could have," Elias replied. "But then I would be what they believe I am." The princess understood then. She had not claimed a weapon. She had claimed a standard. And empires were not ready for humans who chose restraint. Revolutions do not always begin with fire. Sometimes they begin with refusal. The High Council convened under emergency protocol. Fleets mobilized. Loyalist banners rose. The empire prepared to crush its own princess. Zira stood before them, Elias at her side. "You bring a death worlder into sacred space," an elder roared. "You weaken us." Elias spoke softly. "You were never strong," he said. "Only unchallenged." Guards advanced. They stopped. Not because Elias threatened them, because others stepped forward. Warriors from conquered worlds, engineers, pilots, servants, veterans who had watched him fight. Restrain, protect. They chose. The council panicked. Orders were given. Weapons powered up. Elias moved once. He slammed his fist into the floor. The shockwave shattered the dais, knocked elders from their seats, and sent energy ripples through the chamber. No deaths, no blood, only proof. "This," Elias said, "is what restraint looks like." The empire fractured in hours, not through war, through allegiance. Fleets defected, worlds declared neutrality. The myth of invincibility died. Zira addressed the empire that night. "We were taught stability meant obedience," she said. "Humans taught us it means responsibility." She looked at Elias. "You were claimed by chance." He shook his head. "No, I stayed by choice." Years later, historians would struggle to explain it. How a single human warrior dismantled an empire without conquering it. How a princess learned to rule without chains. How humanity became known not as destroyers, but as the species that could end a war by deciding not to win it. Elias stood on a balcony overlooking a free capital, stars burning above. Zira joined him. "You changed everything," she said. He smiled faintly. "No, I just reminded you what you could become." And across the galaxy, when humans arrived, empires no longer asked how strong they were. They asked one question only: